Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Dano. My name is Samuel Dano, and today we'll be looking at something very interesting. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you very much for subscribing. And if you're just meeting this channel for the first time, please do us a favor and hit on the subscription button. Now, today we're talking about something very crucial, something very important that is affecting family. It's more or less like a family life. Now, there are a lot of people back home who are planning to travel to the UK or abroad, and they are in this dilemma and contemplating whether or not they should bring their children over to the UK where they are traveling to, or any other European country for that matter. Now, today I have two girls who will be giving us their own view on if that is a good idea and why they think so. So they'll be drawing in from their own experience as parents and advising, giving their own advice or their own opinion on what they think on this. And also, this will be a two-part conversation. The first part will be looking at this, while the second part will be looking at the issue of child service. A lot of African parents are having issues with child service. Some of them have had their children taken away by the government because of issues with child service. Now, there are a lot of factors that are actually contributing to this, and that will also be looked at in part two of this video. I'm going to bring in our guests, and they will introduce themselves, and then we'll start the conversation from there. I have Glory and I have Mr. Ben, who will be discussing, sharing their own opinion on this conversation. So I'm going to leave the floor. Glory, please, can you introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Glory Ibe. I'm a mom with one child. I'm happily married. I'm currently working at the moment.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so Mr. Ben.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Bernard Gabo. I'm married also with two kids. One is 5, the other one is 2. I've been in the UK since 2019. I'm working currently. So nice to have you guys here.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so we're going to go into the matter of childcare and the challenges of parenting here in the UK. Mr. Ben, I understand that you came into the UK first before your family joined you. Do you want to share why exactly you made that decision?
Okay, so I made a decision for two reasons. The major one is economic reason because you don't want to you don't want to come to a place with your family and get them stranded. I came on a scholarship, NEDC scholarship. As at that time, they had not even paid the mobilization fee, let alone the fee itself and the living expenses. So I just thought it wiser, since I was coming with personal funds and it was not enough to take care of me and my wife and son as at that time, I should come first. And then secondly, even if I had the money, it still would have been good enough for me to have come to see how the place was before I brought them over. If it was like going to the US that I have been previously, it would have been easy for me to take them at once. But the UK, I needed to see how the people live over here, the convenience that family would be able to afford, depending on the number of children they have, the housing and everything. So I just thought it was important to come spy out the place before I bring them over. And when I studied the place, well enough, I came in January. They joined me in August of 2019, but I started the process like May of 2019, and by August they were already with me.
All right, so they haven't been here for this long now. And looking back at this decision, do you think that was the best decision you made?
Yeah, absolutely, because he doesn't pay anything for school fees since he became 3 years old. He has at least 15 hours a week to go to school for free. And then if at the time he started nursery, if both myself and my wife were working at that time, he will have 30 hours free. And once he became 4, he goes to school for free from 9 to 3 p.m. He is feeding for free from morning till that 3 o'clock, and he will keep doing that until he reaches year 2. And then he is also going to go to school for free until he finishes secondary school, which they call high school over here. So I think that just for the fact that I don't have to pay for my children to go to school, even being an immigrant, it's an advantage to start with.
Okay, Glory, you are a new mom, and your child is how old again? It's up to a year now.
8 months old.
All right, 8 months old. Okay, when you were married, there was no child. I'm sure you could work, and your husband can work, and you don't have to think about anything around childcare. So, but since the child came in, what adjustment have you had? How has it been generally? What have been the challenges of having a child now in terms of managing of time, working with your partner, and of that?
Yeah, thank you very much. So far so good. It's been, I won't say it's been all rosy. Um, my experience might be different from another person, and some other persons can also relate with it. Coming to the UK as a single person is quite different from having a family here. I came here as a single person, as a single girl that came to pursue her career and her goals, and then along the way I got married and then a child. Yeah, so I would say it's a different ball game entirely. Seeing that when I got pregnant and I noticed that I was supposed to go on maternity leave, I knew that okay, it was going to affect me in my career path because then you're going to be at home and all that. Considering that you're also on a visa that requires that would you're supposed to work, and if you do not work at some as a particular time, your visa can expire, and if you don't get a job that would sponsor you, you have to go back to your home country. So it was a lot of hustle for us. My husband coming to join me here. Although he was been in the UK earlier, he came to do his master's and left. And then that was 2018. I came in 2019 too. So we both met here. So, we as parents, we understood the whole thing and understood how childcare was very important here in this country. So we were able to balance it with thinking of okay, my husband getting a job that'll be more flexible for him, and myself also getting a job that'll be more flexible for myself, so we can actually take care of the child because we can't just neglect the child, seeing that children are very important in this country. So my husband is an accountant by profession, and his work allows him to work from home sometimes. So he actually balances that. So he's able to stay at home and take care of the child, of my baby while I go to work. And then if I'm around, um, I take care of the baby while he goes to work. So we work around that just to ensure that we are actually nurturing the child and not just leaving him, without care and support. And secondly, as a mom, it wasn't very easy for me because I've never left my baby since he was born. So going back to work, I was thinking all night, how am I going to do it? How is he going to feed? Because this boy has been with me all through birth. It was a very, very difficult um, decision for me. But I told myself, if I do not take this step to, ensure that my career keeps on going and ensure that I make an opportunity for us to be in this country, it's going to really affect us. So I was able to take a bold step and I was able to join a mom community group. That's where you see other moms who for maternity leave migrate to for maternity leave are able to go back to work, and they'll share their experiences with you, and with that you'll be more encouraged to okay, if they can do it, you can do it as well. So that was actually what made me say okay, this is going to be a bold step for me, and now I'm actually enjoying it. Like, I do not feel any pressure.
Okay, so you had to adjust your time, and so everything now revolves around you and your husband having a job that allow you guys to take turn in taking
Yeah.
care of the kids. Okay, I'll go to Mr. Ben now. So when you were here as a single man, quote and unquote, even though you were married,
Yeah.
you could do your job, you could take any job and all of that. So what adjustment did you have to make when your family joined you to make sure that the children get the attention they needed, and that everything was actually going well? Because I know your wife had to work and you have to work. So how were you guys able to adjust to accommodate whatever challenges that were confronted, that they came up with that? And what were those challenges?
Okay, so initially when my wife joined me, she didn't have to work. I had close friends who actually suggested that we should keep my son then with a child minder so that we both of us can work, but we just decided against it. My wife has life skills. She's a fashion designer and she also does hairdressing. So she concentrated on those ones while I had to go out to work. And then when she became pregnant with the second child, things continued on that note. I was the one working, but from later part of 2020, she had to go to work. Uh, like Glory said, I'm an accountant, but I'm not working in accountancy fully. I teach. So I teach professional students. So I have to do it online. When I found that teaching opportunity, it became a better balance for me. I had to pull from any other work that will make me to go out. So she now goes out to work and comes back. She does the other part of the hairdressing and fashion designing job while I am at home majority of the times. And then just to add additional background to help viewers online, there are people that are in the medical profession. I've seen people with the husband a doctor, the wife a nurse. The nurse takes agency shift mostly at night. The doctor works in the afternoon just to see that the children are well taken care of. And like Lori said earlier, there is always a good, you need to have a good balance always between yourself and your spouse. It's not like one person, the wife's duty is to take care of the children, cook food, do the laundry and everything. If you decide to do it that way, then the family is going to crumble because here childcare is important. And if you leave them unattended, it will become neglect. And that word neglect in this country is very, very implicated, you know.
Oh, okay, so I understand that there's a certain age that the children need to get to before they are allowed to be by themselves, right? Yeah. So now, how that means everything now boils on how the two partners kind of adjusting their schedule to fit in order to be able to give the needed care to the children. Now, how is this different from Nigeria? For instance, coming from Nigeria, I'm sure you had some of your kids while you were in Nigeria, and you didn't have to pay attention to most of these things. You can, at a certain age, you can even leave your children at home, go to work, or ask a neighbor to take care of to look an eye on those children, or maybe drop food with them and tell them, please, when they are hungry, please help me give this food to them and all of that. So, what is the major difference that you see between this, though, back home in Nigeria? Because this is to help those who may be coming to the UK with children and they don't understand what is going on over here. So, what is the major difference between childcare in Nigeria and here in the UK? That's actually making this issue of adjusting to fit to make sure the children get the needed attention very, very important.
Okay, so now we had our first child in Nigeria, and to be honest with you, both myself and my wife, we just knew that we had a child. How the child was taken care of, we did not know because family members were around. My mother-in-law, they always wanted the child around. And so all we just needed to do, sometimes just to come pick him in the evening, go sleep, wake up in the morning, my wife dresses her up. Sometimes we even had a neighbor who used to come pick him in a vehicle to drop in the school, pick him and bring back for us. When we came to this place, we actually had some people that promised that when my wife gives birth, they were going to come around. But of course, my wife gave birth 2nd of May when there was total lockdown. So for the first time, both herself and me, we decided to learn for the first time how to take care of a newborn baby. And it was not funny, we just had to be learning and unlearning in the process. So, but here you cannot tell somebody, come and take care of my child. In fact, if you want to employ a nanny, then you need to pay the person the standard living wage or minimum wage that the government wants. But besides that, you you have health visitors that are going to come and check on that child from time to time till a certain age. So you cannot come and keep your child with another person unless there are adequate provisions. And the next thing I told somebody who was about to come is that even today, if you needed me to help you as a person and you come to the UK, I can give you advice on how things work. When it comes to childcare, I can give you food, I can give you money, but to say, come take care of this child, it is not what I may be able to do. Depending on where you live, like let's say you live in Birmingham, I live in Leicester, or I both of us live in Leicester, you live in Coville, I live in Leicester City Center. The possibility of helping you is still not there because your child will go to another school, my child will go to a different school. So that makes it very much complicated. So here, you need to be very much involved with taking care of your child by yourself. And this has to be a partnership between you and your spouse. You need to work it out and ensure that it works. Maybe somebody has to take a night shift, another person works a day job, or if you find a job that is flexible, it is always the best option so far. But you need to be involved until the children are getting to 8 and 6, where most of them can just take short buses to and fro. 8, 10, 11, 12. I've seen children within those age brackets, they just take short buses from their doorstep to school and back. Apart from that, you just need to be involved until they get to that level. But that still does not absolve you of parental responsibilities.
Okay, so now the conversation a bit. I think I would say for the two of you, you've had it a bit easier because there is a spouse that actually makes it a bit easier because okay, but let's look at the scenarios of single parenting. Now, what do you think somebody who is the sole parent, if that's the right word to use, if that's solely responsible for the child, for example, maybe a single mother. Now, how do you think such a person will be able to adjust or kind of have a schedule that allows them to have time for the kid to meet up with their parental responsibility and make sure that the child is not neglected and is well taken care of? I'll start with Glory.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I feel um, most times in this country, you have to um, get close or get familiar with people especially in the church. Why I'm using the church as a case study is because most time you have family in church that can actually help you take care of your child. If a single mom, I'm not saying that it might be only the church, but I'm just saying that I've seen scenarios where people come into this country alone as single parents, especially a lady coming in with her child, and then she actually gets familiar with people in the church, and at the end of the day, is if she's in need of childcare, she can speak to someone in church. Can you please take care of my child? I need to be at work. So time. The person don't necessarily need to take money from her or get you don't necessarily need to give the person the normal minimum wage, like Bernard would say. You will just the person will just do out of goodwill. Okay, bring your child. I'm around. I could look after your child for you. You can also form community. You can even make friends. There are good people here in this country who could be your friend that can actually help you with childcare. When I was in school, I used to have this friend. She came in alone with her baby, and I knew every time she would be crying, and I'll be like, why are you crying? Like it's very hard because then she brings her baby to class, and you see when the lecturer is teaching, baby's crying, and sometimes she's being walked out of the class because she can't bring the baby to class and distract other students. She'll go home. At the end of the day, she doesn't understand what's going on in school. She kept on complaining to me and all. So I had to tell her, you have to look for how to keep your baby. There's no way you can bring your baby to school all the time. And what she did was to, you know, meet someone in church and then talk to this person that, please, I'm not even concentrating in school and all. So the person was able to understand her because the person is an experienced mother. Took the baby from her and told her, okay, don't I'm going to be home by this time to this time. You can drop your baby with me. I will help you look after your baby. And when you come back from school, you can pick up your baby. You can just create that click, that can help you take care of your child because in this country, no man is an island. You want to do it all by yourself, you're going to struggle. So you have to know, yeah, if you're going to get a friend or you're going to be in a church community, or you're going to be in a social community that will actually, see to helping you with your child. Because trust me, I'm saying this because me, I know it's also a struggle with my husband, with me and my husband, because sometimes we are like, hey, babe, this baby needs to do this, baby needs not to talk of a woman coming here alone without a spouse. It's really going to be very hard. So you have to look for how to get that community going, because without that community of friends, it's going to really be hard for a single mom. So I'll advise that if you come into this place for the first time, you have to get familiar with people, make friends, be in a church family. I know I'm saying a church family because I used to have a church family that people would want to help you, you know. And also apart from a church family, social family as well. People you can leave your child with, and it's gonna really help you in this place. Yeah.
Okay, so I also have someone that I know who has two kids, and she's solely responsible for this kid, and she employed a child minor. Can you kind of give us an idea of what you think the implication of a child minor is in terms of the finances? Now, for example, if I'm working a job that pays me hourly at maybe £10 per hour, and I have to employ a child minor to look after two kids or one kid, what do you think are the implications of this financially?
So now, uh, child minding is not a problem if you get an adult involved. That's number one. Somebody that is capable of entering a contract, not a minor. Number two, to add to what Glory said, apart from the church community, then I come to this child minding this thing, which is the main point I wanted to add to what Glory had said already. When I was in Coventry, there's a particular lady that used to you from morning till 6, she collects just £20, but she's going to mix your child with every other children, which is not a problem. So she has like about 10 to 12 children in her place, from 6 to 6, £20, and then from 8 to another 6 p.m., £20. So if your child is going to stay like 24 hours, that's about £40.
40 pounds.
Yeah, so this person is an adult capable of entering contract. So there will be no time that the person can go and tell the police that you've been taking advantage of me. And then the person, then you start getting into trouble with the law. So employing child minding can be very, very helpful, but you need to be sure that the person you are entering into contract with is not a minor. The person actually has the right to work, because they will think that you are exploiting labor, knowing that the person doesn't have the right to work. Then you are not trying to exploit labor. When they catch you up on those kind of platforms or those kind of grounds, they make you to pay. But child minding is another option. The reason why I didn't do it personally was I just felt that my child was too tender to start having influence from somebody that I did not know. But if it was somebody that I know, like church family, like that Glory mentioned, I have been within the church cycle, and they have really helped. Not long ago, I had to do something in London. My wife was not around. It was a church family that they drove, came, pick the children from home. When I came back, they drove and brought back my children to me. I didn't even have to go there and drop my children with them. They are from the church. It's been like that. I'll be traveling not long from today. The same arrangement is in place. Those people are from the church. But the thing is that sometimes it doesn't have elasticity, knowing that those people can have their own private commitment also.
Okay, but also I think to my understanding, I think this child mining is like a professional job where you have to be licensed to practice, right? Is
Yeah,
that true?
you may not necessarily be licensed. You ought to be licensed, but you don't necessarily have to be. The thing is that there's a safeguarding concept in the UK. I think you should know about that. That person should always pray that nothing happens to the children that violates safeguarding principle. No child gets injured carelessly, because by the time you take the child to the hospital and the doctor start asking what happened, and they find out that maybe there was a little bit of negligence on the part of the minder, then the person start going in for for safeguarding. Then they put something on the person, a disclosure and barring, which we call DBS. So even if you are not registered and you are doing it on your own, a private arrangement with people, just pray that there's nothing that happens between you and the children that violates the law. Ordinarily, you should be known to the council that this is the kind of services that you are rendering. They conduct background check on you as a person. You know, I have two places like that that used to run services like that, but their own is at standard government hourly rates. Their children, people have to bring children and keep with them and go to wherever they wanted to go.
Okay, now let's look at the financial implication of doing that. We know the issue about bills, rent, and everything. If you're working, if you have to pay a child minor, let's say £20 per hour, £20 daily to take care of a child while you go to work, do you think by the time you subtract that cost at the end of the month, do you think you will have enough to actually take care of your bill, take care of your rent, and probably have something to save? And good, I think I'll start with you on this.
Are you saying that after paying a child minder, what you're going to get back, like from?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you, for example, now, if like Ben said, you're a child minor and you take maybe at least maybe you pay £20 per hour for child mining every day, and let's assume you're working Monday to Friday. Okay, let's look at a corporate settings right now. Okay, because even as a parent, even if you're working the normal work where you can pick shift like in care and other things, you want to also have that opportunity to actually spend time with your kid. So let's assume you're working 5 days a week and you have to pay child minor £20 per day. That means in a week that is £100, right? So in a month of 4 weeks, you are looking at how much that that's about £400 in 4 weeks. So putting that into perspective and looking at the average earnings in the month and the bills you have to sort out at the end, do you think it is a good idea to use a child minor?
Personally speaking, I'll say no. Because like Bernard said, some people actually collect the normal minimum wage, and if you're going to be earning, let's say you're earning 1,200 in a month, and £1,200 in a month, and you're going to be paying a child minder probably 800 or £700 in a month. It's actually pounds penny wise, pounds foolish, because at the end of the day, you're actually going to be in debt because you're actually using almost all your salary in terms of in paying this person. So now I would suggest and I would say that it's not nice as a person to actually consider that first, except your partner and you actually come to an agreement that okay, let's do this, because you don't want to actually put yourself at risk. Because I myself was trying to use a childminder when I was moving to this place, because I got a job outside Leicester, and before my husband could come and join me, I was actually considering using a childminder. And trust me, the rates we saw was really alarming, because I could not be paying somebody £1,000 every month. It doesn't make sense. And then I was like, okay, let's try nursery. So there's a nursery system you can put your babies. You don't have to necessarily have a child when they come to your home. And the nursery is ridiculous because their prices are even more. You could see a nursery for 1,200, 1,300 a month for babies, and it's not like you're actually earning up to £5,000 in a month that is okay. I can actually spare 1 2 for my child. So I would not advise, except you have all the money in this world, or even if you have all the money in this world, it's not to spend on child minding or nursery. I would suggest that except you don't have any other option, then you can consider a child minder. But if you have options, then it shouldn't be the first thing you should think about. Thank you.
Mr. Ben, did you agree to that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what she's saying. Not long ago, when my child was just 2, we wanted him to go to the nursery, and the fare was like just £35 a day, and we're to do it 3 days in a week. But at the time when we put the bill together, it was going to like 750 in a month, yeah. But now it is now 50 pounds per day, and if you want the child to go for the whole days in a week, you are going to pay that 1,000 that Glory just mentioned for a month, not a term. So we just decided that my daughter, who you know, should just stay at home and enjoy herself until she's 3. And then we take her to school for 15 hours. Of course, by that time we'll have 30 hours because both of us working. So we have 30 hours a week, you know. We can use that one until she becomes 4 and then start school normally. Yeah, so using child minding is not pocket friendly, especially if you are from the lower cadre. But I've also met some families that are really comfortable who are using child minding. I know somebody who is going to this nursery that my son just left to the primary school, and the person is doing uh, £1,000 a month, and it's cool.
All right. Okay. In the light of this, okay, I'm going to share. I think there are people who are actually living Nigeria. Okay, they have families, and they are at this point where they are thinking, is it a good idea for me to move with my family? I'll give you an instance. I know of a woman who is the husband is a lecturer in Nigeria, and he's not keen on moving, but he is happy for the wife to move. And they have 4 kids. I think the eldest is about 15, 16, and she is looking at bring coming to the UK with all the 4 kids, she herself and the 4 kids. Now, I want to get your perspectives on this, and why you think, if you think it is a good or a bad idea, putting into consideration in terms of the fact that she had to work to meet up the bills, in terms of the accommodation she may possibly get with 4 children, okay, and all of this together. And just let us know, just give a perspective, let us understand if you think it is a good idea for her to bring it. I will start with Mr. Ben.
Okay, I wanted Glory to start actually, but since you mentioned my name, there's no problem. It doesn't look a viable decision to me. In terms of the exposure, education, and maybe comfort and the future prospect for the children, it is a good decision. But coming alone, the older child is 16. 16, you can still you are permitted to work in the UK, but having to navigate life with the 3 other children who are not up to that 16, it might be tricky unless the children can fairly maybe take a bus to school and back, and then you prepare food and keep for them, but you're still going to get involved in how things turn out for them. So for me, I don't think that it is a very good idea for her to move with the kids. If the entire family is involved, that is fine. I know of another lady who actually had 4 kids. She was able to come work, put herself on the ground, and work until both of them were seen through their education. But they were more or less like adults, yeah, from 16 to 18 and 22. But she worked and supported them. All she needed to do was to make sure that there's a mother figure in their life. Rented house, stayed together with them. They were going to school. The husband was paying their fees. But when it comes to feeding, rent, and other things, she was working to make sure that those ones were provided. But when the kids are tender, it is not a viable idea unless you have very good support structure from the church that will help you,
So,
like Brody mentioned earlier. Of course, that is the reason why I left Coventry to Leicester, because Leicester I have the church support structure where I can always fall back to and say things are tight, come through for me. Yeah.
so okay.
Yeah.
So,
So
Glory,
I,
what do
I
you
think
think?
yeah, Glory should have an opinion, but for me, I don't think it's viable unless the person will really take the stress. We are just giving the regular kind of advice, and then the advice to people who can take the stress. Yeah.
Okay, Glory, over to you.
Um, yeah, like Bernard, I agree with Bernard, but people will say the reason why they're actually coming here is to have a better life for their children. Most people will say they're not coming to this country for themselves, they're actually coming for their children. So I would not really blame the lady who wants to bring her 4 children here, but I would our children here. But I would say, if you can take the stress, like Bella said, you can. But if you feel um you can't, because see, this country is not a place where for having 4 kids, and I mean, it's not a place where you can just say, okay, my children are here, and I can actually take care of sit at home and take. You need to work, you need to feed, you need to pay your electricity bills, you need to pay your council tax, and so many things you need to pay here. And if you feel you can do it with them, then it's fine. I mean, people are doing it. But if you feel, oh no, because most people think that being in this country is, oh, you're here and there's a tree where you pluck money from. No, everybody works, and you're working hard, to ensure that there's food on your table and everything is working out for you and your family. So I feel personally that being here is not like you actually have everything, but then if you're going to come here, you know that you can actually do what you need to do in order to sustain your family. And I think yes, you should. But then I would not say it's actually viable. For me, I would not do that, except I have a support system. But personally, I would not do that because I don't have family here who would help me tender to those children. So I don't have to start stressing myself and putting myself under depression because I want to be in a country where I feel like I would make it. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the way I'm looking at it, first of all, in terms of for you to have 3 kids, let's say 3 kids, for instance, like in the case we were looking at, let's assume one of them is maybe the one that is 16 is a girl, and the other 2 are boys. Now, first of all, you need to get at least 3-bedroom flats, right? Because the girl needs a room for herself, and the 2 boys can share a room, and you as a mother, you need a room. So at minimum, you need 3-bedroom flats, right? Now, that is one thing. And the cost of a 3-bedroom flat, depending on where you're renting, could be as much as £800. Like in Leicester, where we are, I can rent a 3-bedroom flat for like £850 per month, right? Build exclusive. So adding up the bills is going to be around, let's say, 1,200, okay, give or take. So that is one side. And secondly, there's also the part where now for you to be able to pay these bills and feed the kids, you need to work, right? Now, let's assume that the 16 years is first of all, the 16 years is capable of taking up to that too, which may not very be the exact situation. Okay. Now, if they are able to take those to them, you need to be able to work and earn at least 1,800 a month. Because if 1,200 is going for bills, they need to feed, right? So we look at the work aspect of it, how much you need to earn, and also the possibility of you having that time to work to earn those amount of money, knowing that you have 3 kids at home who are looking up to you, and also taking into consideration the fact that the UK government put emphasis on childcare, on child service or childcare, which we are going to go on in the part 2 of this video. We're going to look at that aspect. Now, you still think it's something? I'll go that to Glory, because you said if the person thinks he can do that. Now, looking at the financial implication of this, do you think it is a good idea for someone to bring in maybe 2 kids or 3 or 4, as in this case?
Well, I would say I don't know. Everybody's their like answers are subjective and relative, so I'm not going to actually put that this is the best answer. But I would say that financially, if the lady comes into the country with their children, I think it's okay for her to get a job, a good paying job that would be able to sustain her and her family. Sorry, her and her children, because she doesn't have a husband yet. So if she's going to get a job that would sustain her children and herself, then I don't see it as wrong. But if she's, because getting a job here is actually a process. So you have to first of all get to NI, wait for NI to come, and then some job requires you doing your DBS. Now you have to wait for it to come in. Then you start job hunting. That would also take a while for you to get a good job that would sponsor you. So sorry, that would also give you the job to do. So looking at it like that, it's actually going to take process. It's going to take weeks, sometimes it can take months. So we should be in this place without without having any finances and available for her and her kids. If that's the case, then I don't think it's actually okay, except she's coming in with something that would sustain her for a number of times before she get her job. But if she's going to come and then she doesn't have um any resources to take care of her children, I think she's going to really, you know, get stressed out. Especially here where everybody's on their own. Nobody would want to borrow you money here. It's not like Nigeria that someone will say, okay, I'll give you 50,000 naira, take care of yourself. Nobody wants to give you £500 here. So pounds, I don't know if there's a spirit behind it, but nobody will just want to give you that money. I don't know, but before you even son, I'll give you £100. The person will think and think and think because I feel like every money, every hour, money counts. The money is very important. So for someone to give you £100, yeah, it's I'm telling you out of experience. Nobody wants to just give you money like that. You have to work for that money. And if she except she knows someone who's ready to give her, even if you want to collect loan, there's an interest occurred to it. So you have to still pay an interest if you're collecting loan in this country. So there's a lot of things going on here that people might not understand. You might think, oh, I want to just come here and looking at it from here. My husband actually collected loan. I'm going to use my husband as an example because when he was a student, the loan he collected, thinking that he was going to pay, without adding interest and other, at the end of the day, he collected £2,000, and at the end of the day, was able to pay 4,000 extra. It doesn't
Wow.
make sense, And people think, oh yes, I can collect loan and all that. There's interest, and if you don't pay early, it affects your credit rating. And then when your credit rating is bad, and in the long run, in the future, you can't get mortgages, you can't, get to asset and the rest. So I don't think it's actually, wise for anybody to come here without actually having that foresight that, oh, I need to have this money that will sustain my children, or I need to know, okay, what I need to do because we're coming here without any money. Bro, sister, you're going to suffer. That is just the truth.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Ben, before I give my final thought on this, do you have anything you want to add so that the video is actually very long right now? So do you have anything you want to say before I give my final thought on this,
No,
for this
I
part
was
one?
going to say that the child that is 16, we will be looking at the child entering the university. And as an international student, that is £22,000 per year. That's just all I want to say. So you do the math.
All right, thank you very much. I think
Yeah.
I have to apologize to you, my viewers. The video has actually taken longer than we thought it would, but these are important things we needed and need to talk about because you back home thinking of coming to UK need to get this information before you make your decision. Now, I'm going to give my final thought on this last topic we're talking about as regard bringing your kids here. In as much as I have seen people who look, I have seen a couple who had only one child at the point they contemplated sending their child back home to allow them to work, meet the bills and the responsibilities also, and actually bring the child back when they are well settled. And while that is not, that a lot of people want to criticize that, that is actually not a very bad idea. But for me, if you're coming to the UK and you have kids, now if it is one kid and you have a partner, that is good. That for me, it's a good idea. You can come here with your partner and your kid because somehow you guys can adjust to the system and make either one person is working full time and that one is taking flexible work to enable them take care of the child. That is a good one. But if you are alone and you're thinking of bringing a child, for me, for the first time to the UK, I would seriously advise against it because you just like Ben said in the beginning of this video, you need to come here, you need to understand the system, and getting a job and settling down is something. It takes a process. Okay, you don't just do a CV, apply for a job, and you get the job and you start working. There are processes you have to have your NI. You have to, as a matter of fact, before you begin to get a job here, there's an average wait time of about 2 months for the processes to complete. So I would advise that you come here yourself, first of all, get the job, settle down to life, get some level of comfort before you bring in the child. So the child will come into an existing structure where that may just require a little adjustment to accommodate that child and be able to live your life and do your things. That is my own advice. And the advice I gave to this person we talked about here is that wasn't a good idea. And I break down the reason looking at the fact that she had to work and feed those children, the fact that she needed at least a 3-bedroom flat to take care of those children. Because here in the UK, just like we said, child neglect is a very big thing. Here in the UK, if your wife is pregnant, the UK government sends people to come and even look at the house to see if it is comfortable enough for the new child. So if you're having 3 children, 4 children, and you're thinking of renting a 1-bedroom flat in the UK, in Nigeria it is possible, but in the UK it is not, because there are the kind of things that will not allow you to do that, because you may risk losing those children. Of course, which is one of the things we'll be talking about in the part 2 of this video. So thank you very much for sticking with us, and thank you for taking time to watch this video to the end. Please subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that you will be able to get alert when we upload new content. We'll be uploading the part 2 of this video very soon. So please subscribe and watch out for the part 2. We'll be talking about child service here, because there have been a lot of challenges among the Black communities here, where a lot of them have lost their children. There's somebody who came in here within 2 weeks, within a month, she lost a child to child service. We're going to talk about what child service is in the part 2 of this video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.